It's very important to talk to your daughters and your sons about it to recognize this behavior and stop it when you see it act. Psychologist Ronald Levand identified normative male alexithymia. This happens when boys are taught to suppress their emotions other than anger. When feelings like sadness, vulnerability are suppressed as something that is very feminine, boys lose healthy processing skills. This internalized distress is often externalized as aggression. That is when domestic violence enters in adulthood. Psychological studies on precarious manhood by Vandello and Bosson. It's almost where they suggest that manhood is a status that needs to be constantly defended and earned. When masculinity is threatened by something that is too feminine, it needs to be readjusted. It needs to be reestablished through physical control and dominance and aggression. The manosphere is possible if kindness is shared and celebrated over hatred and division, if communities are built in public spaces where your man or your boy's thought process is challenged. There's an example over here from one of the school teachers who...
But the parts that were, the violence, the misogyny, the homophobia, were woven into the fabric of the culture the boys were consuming, and there was very little counter-narrative to it. Sound familiar? So I asked myself the question that many of us are asking ourselves now. How do I stop a boy that I really care about from getting sucked into this culture? And what I learned as a youth worker is that we have to help our boys think for themselves. So my friend and I ran weekly critical thinking groups and cultivated a space where the boys could interrogate ideas they were consuming, like this one.
Men invent, build, and maintain society. That's a fact.
And challenge it with real information, like the fact a woman called Julia Tuttle literally founded Miami in the 1800s and was named the mother of Miami. These discussion groups were not always easy, and they took time to build up trust before boys would even contemplate listening to counter-narratives. And it definitely wasn't perfect, because I encountered some of these boys years later in prison, but others in that group went on to become outstanding role models in their community.
Does this